pass it on to you.
Thank you, Kwacha. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, this is not going to be that very technical a talk, but so many cool things we heard. We talked about how we started, a couple of years back, and I've been reflecting about the power of open source and the power of communities in general. It's certainly something we see across our industry, and open source communities effectively are ecosystems. They're almost like an ecological community. They need to have a certain diversity to thrive. And people often, get confused about what it means. And so in my view, the community actually has two parts. There is the contributor community, and then there's the user community. And of course, there are all the other people involved. There's the vendors, there's the various other people in that ecosystem. But notice that I centered on contributor and user more than vendor. And I think it's when the contributor community is really healthy that the user community also becomes healthy. In fact, this is very much like natural ecosystems. There's a fragile balance. It's easy to get messed up. And if that balance gets messed up, what you start seeing is communities in decline. And we've seen this in other parts of our industry. There are open source databases which used to be riding high at one point of time and now aren't as active and as effective, aren't growing as much. And then what happens is innovation starts drying up. So it's just extremely important to have both these communities, the contributor and the user community, really be active, really thrive. And so openness ends up becoming really important. And I think one of the interesting things here is when you get that virtuous cycle, all of us can work together, we can compete, we can help our customers, we can all have good, thriving businesses, because that is what a lot of us are here to do, without stepping on each other's feet. So I think the big lesson I actually take from the last 2 years is how far we've actually come. And so I'm really proud that from Google's perspective that we are committed to this ecosystem. Jacob and colleagues work in the memory stores team, in the Google Cloud Memory Store team, work hard. We have representation on the technical steering committee. We are having code contributions. There's a lot of innovation that's come. I think we'll talk about some of that now today. And I think as a result of this, I think Valky is the undisputed leader of caching. And it's really great that Valky 9 is now coming up in all cloud service providers. And I guess the gauntlet has been thrown. Abe, when are we getting 9.1? Do you have a date for me? All right. Okay. So we'll get there soon. But it is true. Many of you know Itai Maoz, who used to be the Elastic Cache leader. I work with him now. He leads the Cloud SQL engineering team, and he's also told me how much he's seen the benefit of being up to the latest versions, and people care about that. And people care about that because, again, that is a reflection of how fast you're moving and the power of that virtuous cycle. So many great things. We'll talk, I'm guessing, about some of them. Vector search is really interesting. Maybe I'll geek out a little bit. I didn't plan on talking about this, but you brought up client libraries, so maybe I'll take a few seconds to talk about it. When Abe and a team were working on vector search first, I think that was before the big split that happened, right? Before the community changed. One player decided to go another way, right? So when, at the time, there were multiple options. We could have gone with an HNSW option. We could have gone with another kind of option. And one of the reasons we went with HNSW was that there was limited ability to deliver a different kind of vector search within the constraints of the client ecosystem. And the client ecosystem, the nature of the libraries was so tied to the HNSW API, it was hard to change it. So in a sense, that also restricted the ability to innovate. I think in the end of the day, we found, Abe and the memory store team found a super creative way to build a high-performance vector search. But it certainly, cramped our style, if I can say. But many other things I think we've done. including memory management improvements, atomic slot migration, which I think we'll talk about. And so we, as a result of which, I think Valkey 9 is really so much better in every part, everything that you would expect from caching. And we are seeing the results in our own business. I think our public stats is over 90% of the top 100 Google Cloud customers use memory store. And I think we're seeing it with our customers. Is anyone from Snap here? All right. Oh, OK. Thank you. Thank you. Snap, of course, is a customer of AWS and of Google Cloud. They're actively migrating many of their high throughput caching systems to Valkey. And I think Snap also has their own internal system, KeyDB, in this ecosystem. Right? So I think, again, you get so much better outcomes when we have the innovation. And the idea is wherever they come, they make it to the actual, to the public service. I think the other interesting thing comes with extensibility. I think that's the other lesson we can take from the more successful communities. The more we have extensibility, the easier it is to go and try experiments and see what sticks, and then get back into the mainline code. So I guess that probably gets me to the last of my content. I like to tell people, since we work on database systems, I wake up every morning scared. I'm scared that things go wrong, scared that bad things happen. Any kind of latency excursion can mean real problems. And as Khwaja said, there's a lot of finicky things. I've had situations in a past life where totally within our SLO, 2-minute failover time for a database resulted in client applications having site outages, just because the way their clients were operating were not quite taking into consideration how resilient you needed to be. So innovation on the client side is absolutely important. And it's not just the stuff around things that you mentioned, right? In addition to other things, client-side metrics is something that we've learned in many of our services, because modern networking stacks are so complicated. Where is the problem? Sometimes it's not really clear. Is it in the server? Is it somewhere in the network? Is it in how the client is, the application is connecting to the system? So observability at every stage, I think, is important. And again, then it gets to having a vibrant client ecosystem is also important. So some of my learnings from working on systems like Aurora in the past was that performance, correctness, security, reliability, availability, they're all deeply interconnected. So a long duration performance event effectively is an availability event. If you can't get to, if you have too high a latency excursion, for all practical purposes, you have an availability problem. If you can't get to your system long enough, then for all practical purposes, you have a durability problem. So these things, I think, are deeply interconnected. And the boring stuff is actually really important. And the boring stuff is about keeping things healthy, keeping things running, focusing on performance. And I think an underappreciated part of all of this is also security. I think as an open source ecosystem, I'm sure all of you are like me fretting about Mythos and whatever's coming. I think we'll all have to collectively spend a lot more effort in it. Not that security was not important, but I think our worlds are being scrambled in a big way. But a lot of security is also tied to correctness. The better the code quality is, better more you can say about correctness of code. The impact is on security, but it's also on availability, it's on reliability. I think there's a big opportunity. And so I think with AI, that opportunity is not, it's not just the risk that is there with security vectors, but also I think the opportunity to maybe use these tools to improve code quality. So I'll prefer to end with glass half full. I think we have so much more to go. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity. And Jacob, welcome. I think hopefully you're going to tell us more about why boring is good. Thank you. Thank you.